All right, welcome back. Now we are going to display our pins in a friendlier format. So right here you can see we have images working, but this show, edit, destroy description table that we have here is not very friendly. What we want to do is clean this up a bit. So first thing I'm going to do is actually move this new pin button up to our navigation, and then we're going to drop a lot of the scaffolding that we have been using that was generated for us. So let's go back into Atom, and let's go to our index here. And we want to take this link to new pin path, and let's go ahead and add that to our header. So if we go ahead and take a look at layouts, looks like here is our login, sign up, edit profile, logout. We only want to be able to create a new pin when someone is logged in. So I'm going to go ahead and output this here. We just add a new LI element to this list that we have here. And if we refresh our screen here, we'll now see a new pin up here. That looks good. And we removed it from the listing pins index. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of listing pins, so that'll clean that up a little bit. And right now we have this big table, and we do not want to use this. So what we're going to do for displaying these is use the Bootstrap Grid. So we're going to create a row, and we're going to go ahead and just add columns and allow the Bootstrap columns to take care of the row for us. We're not going to try to create a row for every 3 or 4 or however many images we want, because we're going to be using another tool called Masonry to actually handle the arrangement of our pins. If you recall, Pinterest doesn't just have a grid, it uses the height and width of the elements to give this kind of brick-like effect to all of those images. So we're going to go ahead and do that. But first, let's just get them rendering in some kind of tile format. And so I'm going to create our row from the Bootstrap Grid, and we're going to use the call medium. Let's go ahead and do 4 columns across, so that'll be call medium 3. And we will want to customize this a little bit more later. But let's go ahead and see what we have down below that we can use to output these. So we have this .each loop around our pins. We will want that, so let's move that up into here, into our row, and I'm going to indent these. And then we want to end outside of our div. So let's go ahead and put that in there. And then now inside of our column, what we want to do is create a new div that we can use to style kind of the effective pin that we have. And that way we're not actually trying to apply styles to our column. This is also going to be really useful when we get into using Masonry. And so now inside of here, we know we are going to want this description. So I'm going to bring that up, and let's go ahead and just put that in a paragraph. And we will eventually want these, so let's bring all of those over as well. So I'm going to create a div, and we're going to customize this a little bit later, but for right now let's just get it outputting to the screen. So there's our show. We actually don't need show because it doesn't make sense to have a link to that. We can do edit, and let's do our delete button, and let's rename destroy to delete, because that makes a little bit more sense. And now we can go ahead and get rid of this table. So we do need to be able to add a show, but we want to make it so that when we click on the image that we get sent to the pin show. And so again, we're going to output the with ERB, we're going to do pin.pinImage, and note that we're using pin because pin is our parameter that's being passed in as our iterator. So for each of our pins, pin.pinimage.url. And I'm going to do medium again here. We can tweak this if this doesn't look good. But if we refresh this, we should get something that we can see. In this case, we are not getting what we need because we forgot image tag. So let's go ahead and refresh there. And we see our 3 images that we have. So let's go ahead and check out what we have going on here. Call medium 3, medium. Let's go ahead and add a class to this. So we're going to do class, I think it's image responsive. There we go. So the reason we lost our columns here, our spacing, was that our medium image is actually slightly too big. And it's better to take a larger image and scale it down than it is to take a small image and go up. And so let's see what we have here. By adding this class, we actually give it 100% width, and then we have that border here. So let's create one more pin, and we're going to use that Harrison Ford photo one more time. Let's see, I shot first, create pin. Let's go back to our pins page, and now you see that we have another one there. But if we keep adding more images, you'll see, let's go ahead and do one more. Han Solo, create pin, go back to our pins, and it automatically goes to the next row. This is what I was talking about, where we would normally want to split these up into groups of 4 and then output a div class equals row for each of them. But what we're going to be using is masonry, and masonry will give us this kind of tile grid format that we're looking for. If we look at some examples here, so you can see that these tiles will automatically shape and form to match whatever layout allows for them. So with this grid, we're going to be able to display our images the way that we want. But right now, what we want to do, let's see, is go grab our Bootstrap, and let's go ahead and find the panel code. Panels are under components in Bootstrap, so we're at getbootstrap.com/components, and let's grab these panels. So what's cool about a panel is it has the this like kind of outlined border. We want to do a panel with a footer. So let's go ahead and grab this example right here. So looks exactly what we want. We're going to eventually put an image in here. Let's see if they have an example with an image already. It doesn't look like it. So we'll go ahead and do panels, panel with footer. We're going to grab that, and let's go ahead and we might actually get rid of our pin class that we just created. And let's go ahead and put our image in our panel content, and then let's put these links that we had inside our panel footer. Let's keep the div there, let's keep our paragraph, and we'll grab both of those. And we can get rid of this pin class. Well, let's actually just add that to the top of the panel. So let's do pin, class panel, panel default, pin. And if we come back into our Pinterest app here, now we'll see that we have something that looks a little bit better here. We can get rid of the padding and margin around the image a little bit later. That will make things look a little bit nicer. But for now, that looks pretty good. If we were to scale around, we get this very responsive look to the panels. The images aren't going to be responsive quite yet, but we can look at that when we get into masonry. So now what we want to do is make it so that if we had images of multiple sizes, that we could actually display them in that kind of brick layout. So the next video will be installing masonry, and we're going to add some variety of image sizes in here, and we'll see what that looks like once we masonry it.